We actually got to the Fort Bayard National Cemetery, and I wanted to read this. So I find this very interesting, is that the first burials at Fort Bayard Cemetery were in 1866, which was the same year the fort was established, actually. So in 1866, and continue today. So somebody like myself, if I lived here in Single Springs and I passed away, I could be buried at the cemetery. The cemetery holds graves of soldiers, veterans, wives, children of military personnel, and 2 Medal of Honor recipients. It was designated as a national cemetery in 1976. Wow, that's 100 years after the first burial. This Memorial Day procession to the cemetery from the grounds was during World War II. So I don't see the casket is probably in that vehicle. It's in the back center screen, and there's a processional in front with the stripes there. Memorial Day 1918, which was at the end of World War II, and I think that was also the first year that the women were able to vote. I think that was the year of women's suffrage came in. The well-dressed ladies are members of the local chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Or maybe it was 1919 for women's suffrage. I'll have to look into that. I know Woodrow Wilson was president during that time of that amendment, and also during World War I. Oh yeah, during World War I. If I said World War II earlier, I was mistaken. I know, World War II, 1941 to 1945. And that's just it. With my videos, I don't edit it. I don't spend a lot of time. I point, shoot, send. So, there's that. Go over here. So, those of you who have been to national cemeteries, this should look very similar. I had the honor, and it's hard to say the pleasure, but the honor to go to the Normandy Cemetery there in France this past summer. That was on my Eurovan. If anyone's interested in my 3 months in Europe, ask me in the comments section. I did 3 months in Europe, went to a lot of World War II sites, German sites, Holocaust sites. If you want to look it up, it's I think I have it as Eurovin 2023, I think is the name of that channel. It's kind of dormant now because I just did it for my Europe trip. So there are 2 Medal of Honor recipients here. They could be anywhere. It looks like there's still a lot of property, land, real estate to still intern future veterans, as it's so sad. This is so nice and peaceful. Beautiful cemetery. There's some family members there. So these are what the headstones look like in, God, I can't think right now. This is what the headstones look like in Normandy, yeah. Oh, and also, this is what they look like in Arlington. We went to Arlington Cemetery. So this person, 1940, recently 2020. Got a Vietnam vet over here. So looks like a lot of these, look like this whole area is 2020 internments. Ideally, I'd like to, I don't have a map. This is interesting. See how they're all uniform like this? And then there's this one here is standing by itself. It's like protruded out. It might be a child or a family member. But usually when a spouse or a relative, it's either got to be a spouse or a family member, they're usually stacked. Oh yes. It simply says Everett, child. That's all it says. It doesn't, who knows what the Richard Clark, 388 U.S. Infantry. So these don't have dates. So I think I just stepped back, way back in history for these. Some of these might have been replaced. Charlie K. Company G, 17th U.S. Infantry. No birth dates, no dates of death. Oh, there's my name, Vincent Conway. No, that's not my last name. So 1866 was the first internment, which is after the Civil No, 1861 to 18. Yeah, after the Civil War. Civil War, I think it's like 1861 to 1864. And I'm sure somebody, if I'm wrong, somebody's out there in YouTube world that will correct me. Henrik ring. That's an odd stone to be in here. Most of the stones are uniformed, almost like universal. Roland Warren Jones. I don't, you know something? Those flat ones might be, they said no civilians would be in here though. Jumps up, died December 26, 1923. It would have been nice to get a map. It would have been nice to get a map to see what I'm looking at, or to find certain things. I see a prominent headstone out here, a couple of them. Let me see if those are the Medal of Honor recipients. Let me see this one here. Oh, I have the camera facing towards me. How about I turn it around so you guys can see what I'm looking at? Okay, this is a wife. Oh, this must have been their child. I want to see that one way out in the distance. Oh, I can pick it up on camera. I'm going to pause it while I walk. Actually, on my way out, I came across this. And they don't even have a... What's going on here? This is... Look at this old... 1975 for this one, but then that one is not marked at all. And then it looks like a current one was just dug up here, but it's not in unison, it's not in line. Okay, so this big one, I'll look on the back in a second. Timothy Murray, USA, 1836 to 1897. And there's nothing on the back. There's no rank, wow. You know, I'm seeing more wives here than I ever had in any other cemetery. And because they were probably more community-like back then, where they lived and everything. They went to school, everything. And bases did that, sure, when I was in too. But this is a military installation that had, this is 06. Wow. This is a military installation that had a national cemetery on the installation itself. Other than Arlington, I know there's got to be other ones out there. I just don't know. I had a lot of wives. His wife. These are like all the wives. But I'm thinking because, well, another part too is that this is the only game in town, and who knows where the next closest national cemetery is. That regardless if they, when their interment date, this is where they were being buried, because this is the only, I said game in town, but I think you know what I mean. So here's another big one. April 1st, 1876. This guy died during World War I. Woodman of the World Memorial. I really don't think that, and there's another tall one out there, I really don't think that you could really do this at Arlington. They all have to look the same. When I'm going up to some of the other ones, I bet you the Medal of Honor recipient looks like all the others. There's something that caught my eye. Oh, hold on. This one I'm approaching caught my eye because I'm looking at the backs of all these, and it's so bright, I don't even know what you guys can see. I apologize for that. But this one's facing this way. 2007, loving wife and mother. But is there something on this side? Yeah. This guy was in World War I and World War II. Died in 1961, right when the Korean War was kicking off. And that looks like his wife. She died in 2007. Huh. Army Nurse Corps. Okay, so gonna hit a few more. I hope some of you guys find this interesting. I was hoping I'd stumble across one of the Medal of Honor recipients, and that would be kind of cool for us to see. But I'm gonna go to this tall one, kind of center screen. I'm gonna go to the tall one and see what significance that has, if any. All right, so as we approach this one, I know, Woodsman of the World, again, Alfred Prevost, died in 1870 to 1915. I don't understand. Then there's this one. So, unfortunately, I haven't found, because I'm sure it would say Medal of Honor recipient. There's 2 of them out here. Unfortunately, I haven't found any of them. I think what I'm going to do is pass out from breathing hard. The thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and conclude this. Kind of give you a 360 of where I'm at. Really nice, beautiful day out here in Silver City, not Silver Springs, Silver City, New Mexico. I just want to give you guys an idea. This is right on Fort Bayard's property. Fort Bayard's cool to explore itself, but it's kind of nice they have this national cemetery out here also, and plenty enough room for other veterans. Now, as I understand it, once a child reaches the age of 18, if they do pass away, they cannot be buried in a national cemetery. 17 and under, yes, they can be buried in a national cemetery, but at any time a spouse passes away, even if it's before the veteran, the spouse, as long as they're still legally married, can still be interned at a national cemetery. So I'm going to wrap up the cemetery portion here at, actually I think I might have just found the Medal of Honor recipient. Hold on, let me pause and I'm going to hit that first. So before I conclude, Susie just pointed out that there was this little section here all by itself. And this is really unique. I don't know why. Hold on, there's a plaque here. And it reads, "The markers in this memorial area honor veterans whose remains have not been recovered or identified, were buried at sea, donated to science, or cremated and the ashes scattered." I have never, ever seen this before. And I've been to a lot of military cemeteries. Very, very, very interesting. So, so this is what you see here, and I would like to think that more national cemeteries do this. So this little area here that's sectioned off, so these are just simply the markers, which I think is very appropriate, very honorable. I love this. I have never experienced this before, that the remains aren't here, but their memories are etched in stone. Their epitaph is here for everyone to read and to respect and to honor, to revere, to remember. Wow. I just can't imagine how their family members felt about this. And actually, I take that back. There was some distant friends of mine, last name Harville. His name was Richard Harville. He was a Vietnam vet, got out of the military, was living in a place called Boron, California, and he was out on some remote property of his where flash floods came through, and they never found his remains. And he was older. He'd only served the regular term in Vietnam, and he was maybe even retired. I think he retired from the borax. But as I understand it, and I got a picture from one of his daughters, that even though they never found his remains, they actually gave him a headstone in Bakersfield National Cemetery, which is in Southern California. So now that I remember that, and maybe his is in a place similar to this, where the remains were not found, but they still honored him with a headstone. So one thing that we were looking at the different ones that have, some don't have any birth or death dates. The other thing that we haven't seen is all the different style of headstones that are out here. So I started rolling again, and I'm going to approach the one, the gate, in a second. But there are some 1st Cav, 7th Cav, 6th Cavalry right here. So you guys know that my 8 years in the military, in the Army, 8 years in the Army, my first 4 I was a medic, and then the next row was a Cav Scout. But I just had to get those cross sabers in here. So if you're following my KLR adventures and you're watching this, those are the cross sabers that are on my back box of my KLR. And this guy was 1854, died 1884, erected by his commanders, by his comrades. Someday I'll learn how to read. They told me to stay in school. Timor, Santa Fe, Sacred? Oh, it's a C, sacred. Wow. Sacred to the memory of W.M. Manning, Troop G, 6th Cavalry, born, and then date, died date. I just thought it was cool with the cavalry sabers. Nothing. So let's see if this is a Medal of Honor or somebody of prestigious rank. I mean, look at it kind of stands out. David S. Smith, that made that name easy. Born at Whitney's Point, New York. Looks like he was born March 10th, 1841. Died at Fort Bayard May 17th, 1878. It doesn't mention his rank or any other degree of notoriety, why it's so offset and distinct from the other ones. I really don't think I'm going to find any Medal of Honor recipients.
Yeah, you passed one.
What?
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Oh, hold on. I passed it, and my friends are pointing it out. And they say, hey, yeah, you big dummy, you passed it. If you just paid attention. I'm too broke to pay attention.
That one right there. To the right, the bigger one.
Oh, here we go. Thank you. I think I even said 6 Cav.
You did. You did.
Oh my goodness. So we were walking. I was so fixated on these odd looking ones, which is a shame because they're grabbing my attention, and his is just as innocuous as the other ones, blends right in. But that is the Medal of Honor. So this is somebody who I like to look into. If he's a Medal of Honor recipient, then he's on the Medal of Honor records. So I guarantee you, if you Google his name, Alonzo Bowman, and put that in there, and so he got the Medal of Honor in somewhere between, well, usually the Medal of Honor is awarded posthumously, which means after they died. So he died in 1885, which Civil War is already over. So I'm going to say it's the Spanish-American War, and I may be wrong on that date. But if he got the Medal of Honor, he probably died on the day of whatever his citation was for. Company D, 6th U.S. Cavalry. So that is definitely one I'm going to look up. I'm going to probably stop the video in a little bit and do a still photo of that. But wow, I'm so glad they pointed that out because I really want that. So there's only 2 here. So that's one of 2. And if we went to the museum, I'm sure we'd find the other one. I don't think those are them. So at this point, where I thought that one would have been a Medal of Honor recipient because it was so standoffish with the metal gate around it, on the way there, I saw that one. I called out 6th Cav, and my friend saw it. And when I said, well, like, no, it was right there. You walked right past it. So I feel confident I got that one. I'm going to conclude the cemetery portion now, take a couple of still photos to put on Facebook, and go from there. I might do a second main fort video on the way out. But thanks so much for tuning in. Probably a little bit more in the cemetery than most people want to spend. I find these very peaceful, very educational, and I learned a lot today. I hope you did too. All right, signing off. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.